stop him, and forces could not control him. Today at ONN, a veteran journalist, activist, and lawyer, OSA director, will be live on the witness stand to be cross-examined on the state of Nigeria by Smart Madu Ajaja, convener of Open Nigeria, Africa Unite, and anchor of Nigeria Now and Matters Arising at ONN at 7 petameters Nigerian time, 1 petameter Central Standard Time, 2 petameters Eastern Standard Time, and 11 a.m. Pacific. At this encounter, this will be placed on political parties and democracy in Nigeria, the Independent Electoral Commission and how it is abused, the involvement of security agencies with elections in Nigeria, the process to candidacy from party primaries, electoral reforms in Nigeria, the politicization of the Nigerian armed forces, corruption and insecurity in Nigeria, the collapse of the country's economy, education, and healthcare delivery system, and more. This is one interview that Nigerians cannot afford to miss. Be there to watch this live event. Subscribe free to the ONN YouTube channel at Channel 1 on ONN. Participants are free to call, text their questions and contributions to our official phone number at 713-281-5435 or email onnetwork1@gmail.com. Abacha could not stop him, and forces could not control him. Today at ONN, a veteran journalist.
All right. Good morning, listeners and watchers from Nigeria, across Africa, and around the world. My name is Smart Madu Ajaja. I'm the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite, and the anchor of Nigeria Now and Matters Arising on ONN. It's another beautiful day here in Houston, Texas, where we are domiciled. And I'm happy to be in the company of a great brother, a great friend, Mr. OSA Director, a veteran journalist, an activist, a biochemist, and a lawyer, and many more. But you know what? Before we start, I'm going to do a rendition, of who he is. Not enough, the way I believe it should, because this guy has so many caps, has so many hats on him. So I hope we are going to have a good time here, talking about the state of Nigeria. All right, and we are about to get started with this event, and my name is Smart Madu Ajaja, like I told you earlier. So we're going to do a little bio of our guest here. OSA Director is a prominent Nigerian journalist, lawyer, and civil rights activist, often referred to as polymath, with 6 academic degrees spanning the faculties of science, social science, law, and humanities. Yes, that is OSA Director. I'm continuing with this rendition. And he was educated at the University of Benin, Nigeria, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Biochemistry in 1987. With his predilection for civil rights activism, he opted to serve at the Kano Broadcasting Corporation, Gidan Radio, where he did his national youth service. Yes. Thus began his career in journalism. He shot international recognition as a staff of the pro-democracy magazine called Tell, where he rose to the position of a senior assistant editor and the Kano bureau chief. He was also a member of the editorial board. He was involved in the struggle against military dictatorship under Generals Ibrahim Babangida and Sani Abacha regimes. Consequently, he suffered several arrests and detentions, prominent among which was when he was chained and detained in Kano in 1995. The iconic photograph of his leg chains became a symbol of Nigeria's journalism in chains under successful, brutal military dictatorships. In 2001, with some of his colleagues, they founded the Insider Weekly magazine, where he was editor-in-chief and chief executive till 2009. His undiluted quest for knowledge propelled him for further education. He obtained an MBA management from Imo State University, a Bachelor of Law from Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, Edo State. He was called to the Nigerian bar 20 years ago with a barrister at law degree. OSA is a proud holder of a master's degree in media and communication from Pan Atlantic University, Lagos, and another master's degree in corporate governance from Leeds Metropolitan University, United Kingdom. OSA, who is married with children, is mostly into legal practice with a law firm in Benin, in Lagos and Benin City. OSA director, brother, it's a pleasure having you here. Welcome to ONN. All right, so just a little bit.
Thank you very much,
Who's
my
OSA
brother. Good to
director?
see
I know
you.
I did a rendition. Tell our global audience, who are joining from various parts of the world, what makes you OSA director? Hey, it looks like. Hello.
I didn't get that. Yeah, I didn't get
I said,
that.
okay,
Please.
who is OSA director?
Well, you've already
I've already done that. I
enumerated
want to hear
my
from the
some.
horse's mouth, just a little bit of it.
Yeah, like I always tell people, it's very difficult for me or for a progressive-minded thinker to describe himself because that will amount to self-adulation and glorification, if not intellectual incest.
Yeah.
But briefly, however, I would just say that. I'm a humanist and I don't believe in labels. But if you have been labeled by society, then you must have the courage to live up to the qualities of those labels. So most people see me as a pro-democracy activist, a lawyer with a radical bent. And like you rightly stated, I started my career, my educational study in sciences, where I graduated in biochemistry from University of Benin. I remember when I started practicing journalism with Tell magazine, uh, Chief Gani Fawemi, that legendary Nigerian, a man of all season and for all season, human rights activist with no iota of sentiments and the usual tribalistic instinct of the average Nigerian in him. We became very good friends and I mentor, and one day he told me, he said, "Oh, sir, you have a degree in biochemistry, thereby having the training of forensic analysis and skills. And now you are a practicing journalist, able to gather facts and information." He said, "If you go and read law, you are going to be a potent weapon in the hands of the progressive in decimating the oppressors and the exploiters of our people." There began my interest in law. It is because of that I decided to go and study law. And I'm proud to say that during the chamber's attachment, they asked me, where do I want to serve? Why do I want to do my chamber assignment in Lagos or anywhere? I went beyond saying Lagos. I said I want to serve with Chief Gani Fawahimi Chambers. And to the glory of God, I was posted there at the head of the team of the law students who were there. So, and every day when Chief Gani would come in, he had already prohibited the taking of the drinking of coffee because he was a coffee addict. And on one of such occasions, he was arrested. Immediately was brought in. These detractors and the security forces said, "Oh, let's give a cup of coffee to Chief Gani Fawemi." Gani retorted and screamed and said, "Oh, they have told you I'm a coffee addict, so you want to poison me? I'm not going to drink any coffee." So, so when he came back, he now stopped drinking coffee in the office. But when I came, because of the maximum respect he had for me, which was mutual anyway, I said, "Chief, I take coffee." He decreed that I should be served coffee every morning when I get to his chambers. So that was the kind of relationship we had. So that's who I am. And I'm also a family man. I believe in family values. I'm an African, so I believe in communal relationship. And it's one of the reasons during the struggle against military dictatorship when I was a reporter with Tell magazine. After I was released from detention, by the Sani Abacha regime, I decided to devise a means in beating the oppressors. And one of the tactics I evolved was that of Che Guevara, which is constant mobility, as a tactic in beating the oppressor and not making them know where you are. If they say here that you are in Lagos today and they are planning to arrest you by tomorrow, tomorrow you are already in Benin City. By the time they say, oh, we saw you has gone to Benin City, before they get there, you are in Abuja, So I was always on the move. So I started traveling abroad through the Nadeko route. And I can confidently say that in one of those occasions of the seminar paper I delivered at London, University of London, a lady came from Troika, a Catholic organization in Ireland, and Honor, you know. After the lecture, she pleaded with me not to return to Nigeria, and that right there and now that they had to take me to Ireland and process my asylum papers. I thanked her and said, the faith and the standard, the living United Kingdom today, United Kingdom citizens are responsible for it. And the standard and living condition of Ireland today, Irish citizens are responsible for it. Ditto for Nigeria, whatever is happening in Nigeria today, it is responsibility of Nigerians. And that I want to be counted among the few that stood up and said no to this backwardness, no to this exploitation, no to this degradation of humanity by the few elites who have held us at the jugular since independence in 1960. So please, thank you for your offer. I'm going back to Nigeria. She was so impressed. Also, when I went to Oberhausen in Germany and also deliver a lecture, about evidently women. After they also pleaded that look, it's dangerous, especially when they saw that iconic photograph where I was in leg chains, where I was chained by the Abacha regime,
Yes.
directed and choreographed by the dreaded Chief Security Officer Colonel Hamza Mustafa. They said, no, you can't go back to Nigeria. We want to process asylum papers for you in Germany. Unfortunately, there were a lot of Nigerians there who ran towards seeking asylum in Germany, and they've not given them papers. I said, well, if you want to be of assistance to me, if you want to please me, all these young men and women who are stranded here now, sitting in this hall, try and regularize their papers. As for me, I'm going back because some people have to be in the forefront of fighting for a better society. I give them the examples that what I explained to the people that came from Ireland. The same thing in the United States in 1997. So what I'm trying to say is that I'd always rejected holding another national passport. I'm not saying I have anything against that, but I was saying that, and I still maintain that whatever is our condition today, we Nigerians are responsible, and the duty and onus is on us to change it for the better, and we can. And I want to be counted among those who are in that driver's seat for a better change.
Wow. Vintage OSA director. Put a ban on it. Wow. This is,
Put a ban on it, man.
listeners, those who are just joining us, you know what we do. If you are visiting us for the very first time, we heartily welcome you. Please do us a favor, subscribe to our channel, share this broadcast because it's very, very important and strategic to Nigeria's national survival. And making this choice of bringing this iconic friend of mine and the national figure in Nigeria is not a mistake. It was intentional, to stir up something. OSA director, from biochemistry to journalism, what is the inspiration?
That's what I said. When I was in the university as a biochemist, if I have 10 friends, 7 of them will be from the faculty of law, arts, and the social sciences. Why maybe 30%, that's 3, will be from sciences or engineering and medicine. In essence, I was always in the company of students in social science, law, and other background because I just believe that we have to, uh, we have to, in order to change society, you cannot necessarily restrict yourself to the confines of the laboratory. And that it got to a point that I was always interested in the position of public relations, intelligence of first class, and the 70% perspicacity, So I had the natural talent and flair. A group of Nigerian writers, brilliant writers, Reepu, Dan Agbese, and others, those of the Newswatch. Then you have the editorial board members of the Guardian newspaper, when Guardian was Guardian, when Guardian was the flagship of Nigerian media. Every week, week in, week out, Guardian editorial board was engaging what I call epistemological terrorism, to the extent that you will find a Godwin Sogolo writing an article, and you will say, oh, brilliant, nothing to remove. The next week, another Alfemo will respond. You say, wow, I think this is a better one. Then the next week, you will see a Memo Biakolo, or Professor Memo Biakolo replying, or even Wole Soyinka, Femi or Shofrishan, and of course, one of Nigeria's most clear-headed socialist ideologue, Dr. Edwin Madunagu, a mathematician turned writer too. I never miss his every Thursday column. So, to the extent that even if I don't have money to feed on campus, my last kobo, I will use it to buy Guardian newspaper or the weekly Newswatch magazine. It affected my economic balance, so to say, that I now had to arrange with a friend of mine who is with you there in the United States, Dr. Dan Obovon. He was in biochemistry and later changed to medicine. He's a medical doctor over in the United States.
Yeah.
We arranged because he was also interested in always reading. The week I will buy Guardian Daily, he will buy Newswatch. The week I will buy Newswatch, he will buy Guardian Daily.
Wow.
So my friends in the lab used to laugh at me when I get to the laboratory. When I wear my laboratory coat, the next thing I'm clutching is a Guardian newspaper or a Newswatch magazine. So my colleagues were always wondering when I want to come and synthesize. So I had to abandon. So it got to a point that I had to abandon the laboratory of chemicals and enzymes for the laboratory of ideas. So
Wow.
that was how I embraced journalism.
Wow. Now, journalism then and journalism now. What do you have to say? What has happened? What has changed?
Yeah. The last time I listened to one of those who also inspired me in this profession, especially in the area of critical interviews, Professor Tony Iridia, the former Director General of Nigerian Television Authority. He was, when we were growing up in Benin, he had this program called Guest of the Week, and he was fearless, bold, and incisive, And even when he was DG of NTA, he had a program, Point Blank. You have to be on your toes when you appear as a guest in that program. Some people were avoiding the program. So those were the kind of people that inspired me. I listened to him recently on the program, and I want to quote him. Yes, there's improvement in Nigerian journalism, but that is only in the area of infrastructure. What do women? We have more access to better technology. Those days when we go out to conduct interviews, during my generation, you'll be looking for how to use your long hand to write the interviews, type it with a typewriter, and find a way to use courier service, DHL, or FedEx then, to send it from wherever you are to your base. And it could be intercepted by the security forces. But now, with your phone on your it's at your fingertip, you just type it on your phone and you send it across. So there's no more gatekeeper. The gatekeeping has the gate has is now wide open. You don't even have editors who will edit you, check the quality of your work and all that. So In essence, technology has improved journalism. Yes, it went off. Well, technology has improved journalism practice, but in terms of the human performance, the journalists themselves, I unfortunately dare say there's a high reduction in standard in terms of commitment to ethics, standard in terms of commitment to intellectualism and flair. Everything is like garbage in, garbage out, with the exception of a few. I mean, maybe those who are still of my generation that are still in the system. And then with democracy, you find everybody taking a partisan position. You know, the journalists are now politicians. They have political parties that they survive. Of course, you can't blame them. I mean, hey, it's your constitutional right to belong to a political party, but that does not mean you should not see anything wrong with what that party does because you are a member of that party. So to that extent, there's a reduction in the human capacity and the level of articulation and commitment to ethics and what you would call the principle of pursuing national development. So I would say that and that is more important than even the area of technological enhancement and contributions to elevating the profession. So generally, I will now say there's a reduction in standard. I get people calling me, people meeting me when they hear my name. Sometimes they say, "Oh, what happened? Your time, those days, we enjoyed journalism, fearless investigative journalism. What is happening?" So I just smile. I say, "Well, as the younger ones who are there now, not me. We played our role, we have handed over the baton to them." So it's their
Now,
responsibility.
thank you very much. So, can we say I've had my own experience with journalists, but with the benefit of hindsight and my close relationship with you, a lot of times I stay away from the mainstream media in Nigeria. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it is right, but we have to give it the name it is. Journalism has become so corrupted. Journalists in Nigeria, as we speak right now, are mostly lazy. They were not as hardworking as you were. I don't even want to say that they are even near on the pathway. That is how disgusting it is for me personally. I know how you used to travel. You ride the worst raggedy vehicles to Lagos to send your report in because you didn't have the luxury of the access to the internet that we have now. But the internet, in a way, has become a super highway for actually committing media fraud in Nigeria right now. People wake up, you see somebody you thought was a good somebody who could be a journalist, write trash. They don't even investigate. I know how many you and I share the room, so I am talking from experience. What can be done to remedy this situation? Seriously, journalism in Nigeria is lying prostrate on the ground right now, and it's sad for a country like that. They lost that vibrancy. They lost that thing that will make you hungry to want to read newspaper or look at watch the television. I don't watch anymore. I don't read any of those things. Guardian is not the Guardian anymore. Vanguard is not Vanguard anymore. And you name it. The Punch is not the Punch that we used to know. So what can be done to remedy this situation?
Yeah, like the saying goes, a society. Uh, a friend of mine put it succinctly: when journalists are you, see the way you have been treated by society, consigned to irrelevance, possibly, as if, there's some people who even question me, what fight did people fight? Why are you saying people fought for democracy? Which democracy did you fight for? Even a colleague of mine, as I just today, wrote, we're just private chat. He said, did you fight for democracy? What did you use in fighting for democracy? I had to sarcastic. I used my pen and my voice. So he kept quiet. So what I'm trying to say is that when the younger ones see how people Yes, when the younger ones see how those before them were treated, they have no choice than to readjust their strategy. You know, today, we are the Nosai Gables, the Onemosifo Whiskey, the Dare Babarensa, the Ademo Yola, the Ayo Akinkwotuz, you know, the Kola Loris, the OSA directors, the Dan Name Umodu, you know, we are there. Apart from probably the news that I've had some, you know, you say, where is that Polorun Yomi? Yeah, he's doing well with Premium Times, and that's why that is one of the most vibrant and consistent online media acquisition in Nigeria today, you know. But really, when you see the way people try to relegate what we did to the background, you would not, to an extent, be disappointed or be shocked or surprised as to why the younger elements are doing what they are doing. And other factors that have contributed to the falling standard of commitment on the part of journalists is what I said just now earlier, that in terms of, you know, democracy, you have partisanship creeping in. You know, there's nothing wrong for any journalist to say, I support this party. But for God's sake, it does not mean that when such a party is on the wrong path, you to do what you call public relations instead of journalism and say, no, what the black thing they did is white, you know. So that is the only problem. And then you also discover that I was discussing with a friend of mine that I want to do a research on the political economy of the Nigerian media. Without mentioning names, I can tell you, okay, I can mention names. I mean, I don't care, but I'm just saying, you know,
Yes.
uh, the Sun, Vanguard, Nation, Guardian, This Day, Punch, right? Sis, maybe then Tribune, you know, and then you talk of Daily Trust and Leadership in the North. So you're talking of about 9 major newspapers. Who are the owners of all these newspapers? With the exception of Vanguard, Punch, and then Daily Trust. The rest are politicians. They are former governors or president or senators, businessmen, you know. So how do you expect the journalists there to fight the system? Then you talk of the top networks, channels, Arise, TVC, um, AIT. Let me just stop at that four. Out of that four, two and a half are owned by politicians. So, so at the end of the day, he who pays the piper takes the tune. You know, that is it. You see, when Tai was able to take position, they took because they were run by professional journalists. And the directors, the investors who put money, we are progressive minded people who said, don't let them know we are behind you. Go ahead. The same thing was when we founded Insider. The same thing with the news. But especially where you have a politician, a businessman who is patently and visibly compromised, you know, put his money down to found a newspaper or a television station. My friend, he wants to make profit. He wants to do deals. He wants to cut this, man. You know, it's just like what you have now. When you've had people who have been corrupt or who have made so much money in the security service, the security service, I mean the military, air force, cost, they know that they'll likely be the next thing they're going to become a traditional ruler. You know, how many traditional rulers can you take to the dock or put on the dock and start questioning? So they always find a way. So they are a step ahead of the society in terms of perpetuating their primitive accumulative tendencies. So that is it. So that's part of the problem we have in journalism. So for example now, look at you now. Who is going to dictate to you what to do? Some of my colleagues don't invite me for interviews, even though I've also said Nigeria is a basket case. I'm sorry to say, so I don't want to talk again. Like when you say we should do this, and I said, my brother, even though because of our relationship, I've said I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything about Nigeria. I don't want to say anything about Nigeria. It's um, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I spoke to a friend of mine. I don't have the permission to mention his name. When he saw this link, and I said, "You have been asking about him, how he was involved in electoral reform and all the rest. That you
Yes.
want to speak to him." He said, "My brother, please, I don't talk about this country anymore." I said, "Yes, it's something I told you." Yeah. I said, "No, I'm the chairman of Sidon Look Party." So because you see, what is even is that even if people are not giving your dues, they should not try to rewrite history. Where you have some nincompoos who are even journalists, either out of envy or ignorance, asking me, how did you fight for journalism? I mean, how did you fight for democracy? I mean, it's funny. It's funny.
It is.
So that's the way my brother LT, we tend to have what you call independent media organization.
And that is why we
Media,
that is why we exist now.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
is
and
why.
that is why you are welcome. That's why you're welcome, my brother. You are totally different. It's one of the reasons I said I will speak because of your commitment, because of your consistency, because of your vibrancy, and because of your intellectual approach. It's not just about shouting and making noise. You are able to situate, being contextual in your analysis and recommendations. So that's why I said, okay, no problem. Otherwise, I
Thank you.
get in invitation and I try to dodge, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
for the sake of time constraint, I know you have a lot to let out. We are going to do. I am going to do a 2 3 hour close up with you on a later date. But we are going to. I know you and I spoke behind the scene about the commitment that you have. Now let's talk
Yes.
about democracy in Nigeria. Let's not go far to with. Uh, uh, you know, let's just start from 2023. Nigeria had an election in 2023, and the build up towards that election gave us the hope that it was going to be a ballot revolution. And then along the line, in the dying minute, things started happening, and we did not get the revolution or the outcome of the revolution that we thought it was going to be was not what we got at the end of the day. Hey, Victoria, Emmanuel, thank you very much. Ellen, I appreciate you guys joining in. Much love from Houston, Texas. I hope you guys are doing well. So now, what happened in 2023? What happened? And now they are talking about 2027. When are we going to stop shifting the goalposts?
It is so sad. It is quite lamentable. It's quite disappointing. I had a personal experience because my second son was involved in that revolution of the youths, and he was very optimistic. After the outcome, he almost fell into depression. You know, I had to manage him from experience. And things I told him jokingly is that, do you know how many heartbreaks I've suffered in the struggle? So that, like I said, look, like Abraham Lincoln said, the joy of the world is not in never falling, but the ability to rise anytime you fall.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so you just dust yourself up and try again. You saw what happened in NSAS. He was also involved and all that to my excitement. It goes to show that at least some of the younger ones know that they cannot just keep quiet for these guys to ride the roughshod over everyone. So I think um, that revolution was derailed 100% by INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. How did he do it? INEC, they saw the revolution, especially in the registration. People said, we don't want violence. Let's do a ballot revolution, you know? And INEC came up with this idea, assuring everybody that voting is going to be real time. It's going to be counted real time. Nobody, you will see as you are voting. So everybody went out to register and said we must cast our vote. Some people won election who never printed posters. Like the man who was from Edo South who has come to the APC now, a senatorial person. At my level in this country, and my participation as a stakeholder in Edo politics, I knew him. I didn't see any of his poster, but he won the election. But he won, and what has happened now? He has come to the other side now because he wants the second term. You know, so that was the extent of the revolution then, the commitment. But what INEC did was that they said, oh, no problem, it's going to be real time. So people concentrated on casting their ballot and making sure it counts at the polling unit or wherever. You know, there was no plan to ensure that at the level of electronic recording by INEC, that they are checkmated or monitored bumper to bumper. And that was why he said everybody should go home. The next day they'll continue. And nobody's even talking about that. Rather than continue the next day, the result was announced 3 a.m. when decent men are asleep. That's when Mahmoud Jega, because I refuse to put professor. I mean, no Mahmoud Jega, Mahmoud Yakubu.
Yakubu.
Tariq Jega,
Yes.
yeah, Mahmoud Yakubu
Yes.
decided to announce election result when decent men were asleep. You know, if you were sure of what you were saying or what you want to do, why do you have to wait? You know, in the wee hours of the night. So once that was done, and you know, most people in Nigerians are pacifists. You know, so oh no, 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 no. Since they have announced, no problem. There's no way they can prove this thing in the court. Let's go to court. You know,
Now
well,
we started saying all eyes on judiciary.
yes, yes. But they still did what they did, and nothing happened. So for me, it was INEC Jaga Jaga. Let me use the word of Idris Abdulkarim. It was INEC Jaga Jaga that aborted that and that revolution. And the Nigerian youths were not yet ready to take the revolution a notch further. So perhaps 2027, they will be ready to take it a notch further. Perhaps, just perhaps.
Well,
And we are there.
before we leave that question alone, I want to do something happened before then. It was alleged, but I saw video footages of what happened. That the INEC chairman, Yakubu Mahmoud, was at the house of Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the eve of the election. They were eating and drinking and making merries. So wasn't that enough pointer to what was to happen the following day that Nigerians should have taken very seriously and perhaps decided to say there was not going to be an election? Where would that type of thing happen?
Yeah. Yeah. In fairness, if that had happened, it would not be possible. It is part of what we talk about the negative influence of social media in peddling fake news. The truth must be said.
Mhm.
That person was not Mahmoud Yakubu.
Okay.
That video was very well analyzed. Our hair would have been let loose if it was actually the one. It was
Okay.
not Mahmoud Yakubu. You know, it was part of the grand design to also, I mean, to provide a counter narrative, you know, against the propaganda of the ruling class, you know. But true be said, it wasn't Mahmoud Yakubu. It was
Okay.
someone else, you know. So,
All right.
so
Hey, Adeniyo Oyemade, thank you very much for joining Osamagiame Garuba. It's a pleasure seeing you here. Razak Sulu, he said Independent Media Association. That is welcome. I'm very welcome. So let's keep on
it's,
marching. Yes.
it's Osama Giagie, Garuba.
Osamagiame.
Yeah,
Okay.
God did not
Okay.
allow them to laugh at
We do
me.
patakia.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I guess that there are some of your crews. A lot of
I
them
want to believe
are
that.
here
I want to
right
believe
now.
that that's my teacher.
Oh, it's
That's
all
my law
right.
teacher.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Prof. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes. Now, the INEC Mahmoud Yakubi announced that result about 3 a.m. in the dead of the night. And didn't you think that something inspired his action? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that something inspired the action he took? Because what followed was more astonishing. What followed after the announcement, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the rogue president-elect, moved in quickly into the defense house. You see what I'm saying? And the first person he visited was Tony Elumelu. Don't you think it was a chain of planned events that were just playing out at the time? Otherwise, why should he announce a result of an election of that magnitude the way he did?
Exactly. That's the point I made. I mean, it could have been done over a platter of naira, you know. And that is where I'm challenging Nigerian youth, especially the techies, technology experts, computer, ICT expert, to go after all the accounts of Mahmoud Yakubu and trace all his relationship, to see, what happened. He couldn't have done that. It's not value free. He couldn't have done that free of charge. So I want to believe that something happened, and it was unfair. It was totally unheard of. It is quite nauseating that he wears the tag of a professor and decide to conduct himself in such a dishonorable manner. If for nothing, why would you announce election result when decent men were asleep and you have told everybody to go back and the next morning you continue the announcement? So obviously, I'm just
Yeah, network. Yeah, the failure
and
of Nigeria
yeah,
reflected there.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like I said, I'm just restraining myself from making allegations that could be considered wide because as a scientist, I'm trained to believe in forensic analysis where you get the facts. As a journalist, I investigate.
Hey, hey, the network.
Yeah, yeah, it's part of the challenges we have in Nigeria.
Yeah,
I'm sure this network problem is coming from the Nigerian angle, not the Houston angle. And I say that
absolutely,
without
absolutely.
apology.
And it's a
I beg
reflection
them
of
to.
the tragedy of leadership in Nigeria
Yeah,
because they will
yeah,
say, give now this one good for my people. That is what we have been dealing
yeah,
with. Yes. Please,
yeah.
can you take what
I,
you before now? Because you were saying something, the people were not hearing you.
yes, I said Mahmoud Jaga. I mean Mahmoud Yakubu. I
Yakubu.
don't know why. I don't know why the name of because it's
Jega Yakubu.
yeah, but you may know the reason why you were in Kano with me. We were
Absolutely,
together in Kano.
absolutely.
Atari the guy is a very good friend of mine. I mean, as a president, and
Yes.
I used to go
And
to
then
him
he
as a
was
general. We are very
INEC
good friends.
chairman at one time too.
Yes, I'm a Chegman, yeah. So maybe
Yes.
that's why his name because he's a decent human
Absolutely.
being. But Mahmoud
Absolutely.
Yakubu is going to
Mahmoud.
answer.
Yes.
He's going to answer to whatever he has done. It may take time, like they say in law. Time does not run against crime. Someday somehow he's going to pay for it. And that is why I believe that, and I insist that we should be keeping records in this country. We are going to ask the appropriate question at the appropriate time. You see, let me say one thing. The only reason why I have not given up hope on Nigeria is that Nigeria was not always like this. It wasn't always like this. When we were growing up in the 70s, do you know that in the ancient city of Benin, we had what you call public telephone booths? You had these long Savian buses. They
Yes.
don't stop anywhere. They have bus stations,
Yes.
unlike the disorganized society you have now. So Nigeria successive government or government, unfortunately, is that we are unfortunate to have a situation where every successive government is worse than the one before it. You
Absolutely.
know, so nobody ever thought you have a challenging government more than that of President Muhammadu Buhari. But today, it's a different story we are singing. So that is why we really need to sit down and ask ourselves what is going wrong and how do we address this rot. We really have to do that. So I think Mahmoud Yakubu will answer for his zeals one of these days. It's a question of
Well,
time.
for Mahmoud Yakubu to answer for his crime, I can say it was a crime. I'm not playing safe. He's a criminal. He subverted Nigeria. He did a damage, an incalculable damage to Nigeria, to bring about a terrorist as a vice president, non-terrorist in whose home those who masterminded the bombing of the United Nations building in 2011 were arrested, and then he midwifed the emergence of a drug dealer, a certificate forger, and an identity thief as president of Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria has to be the Nigerian system has to be dismantled before we can get to that level where we can hold people accountable. Maybe perhaps then. So now, quickly, do you have hope for a 2027 election in Nigeria with a criminal in charge of INEC and all that? How are we going to do it? Is there any pathway that you see to the liberation of Nigeria through an election, hopefully in 2027?
We must always have hope, but the truth is that, in life, um, you become most vulnerable when you think that you are impregnable, or when you think that you are on and be all. That is when you need to watch it. That's when you become most vulnerable. So one cannot say, oh, it's not possible to defeat uh, President Bola Tinubu. It's very, very possible. But the biggest danger and threat to democracy that I see is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. I say this with every sense of responsibility. I really don't know why that man believed that he must be president of Nigeria. It is not by force. He has been contesting since 1993, 1992. I was at the Jos Township Stadium in 1993 during the SDP convention. The man came third in the primaries. MK Abiola came first. Babangida Kingibe came second. He came third. And in spite of having the machine of Shehu Musa Yar'Adua behind him, the PDM, People's Democratic Movement, and they were insisting that they should pick him as the VP, But the progressive governors then, led by Oyegun and this guy from UB, they insisted that it must be Kingibe. So Abiola picked Kingibe because he needed the governors to control their state. So a man has been contesting election for the past 2 years. He has not won. If he has a son that has been doing exam for over 30 years, will he not, even as a father, kneel down and beg the son, say, please find some other things to do? This is not the way out. You understand? He is good. He has contested 6 times. 3 times he never got a ticket. 3 times he got the ticket as a candidate. In 2007, Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave him a ticket of ACN. He was defeated. In 2019, after he left PDP before he came, PDP gave him a ticket. He 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 lost to Buhari. After 80 disastrous years of Buhari, with the gentleman agreement between North and South, that after North, we go to South, after South, we come back to North. Atiku had the effrontery in 2023, after 8 disastrous years of Buhari, to say he wants to be president. And he got the ticket of PDP. And he was worsted by. In short, that is one of the kudos I give to Bola Tinubu, at least for helping to disgrace and defeat Atiku Abubakar. Because he only went into that race Just on he was riding on the crest of the impression that I'm a northerner, so I have the votes. There he says it, 12 million votes. Which 12 million votes? Go and look at the statistics. He has never really won the north. In the last election, Obi got about 25% in Adamawa. How many percent did he get in the whole of the southeast? So what I'm saying is that he is the biggest threat right now. If that man can say, I am backing a younger element from the south, I can tell you that it is very, very doable. 2027 will be an easy ride. But as far as that man is there, I can tell you we are going to have a replay of 2023.
Okay, great. Now, there is a coalition party. I'm going to this is a combo of a question, so listen very carefully because I will want you to
Okay.
address that because of the time constraint that we have, and that is why
Yes.
I'm saying that I'm going to have to do a real serious up close with you because you are a huge person of interest. The reason is because I want the younger generation to understand something, and we are not going to be able to get to all that now because I know you are pressed for time. There's this coalition. And looking at the national security embarrassment Nigeria has been facing, the people driving this coalition are mostly those who I believe, and a lot of Nigerians believe, are the masterminds of terrorism and banditry in Nigeria. And you want me to believe you that that coalition is a coalition that I will put my voice behind because I want Bola Ahmed Tinubu out? I don't know about that. So what do you think? But I'm going to call names here, and some of them are dormant participants in what is upsetting Nigeria's national security. I make mention of El Rufai as one of them. The one who allegedly imported Fulanis from outside Nigeria because they wanted Buhari to win an election. And that those people have become bandits, mercenaries, and very cancerous everywhere in our country, everywhere, not just in the north now. And that to complicate the presence of Boko Haram already. How would you want me to believe that? And again, and Peter Obi is saying, hobnobbing with all this. The other day was a meeting with a Pantami. What business has he got to do with this type of elements? And he wants me to be as vocal as we were all in 2023. I think we should draw a line. I don't know what you feel. Quickly answer that so that I can let you go. But truly, I'm going to have to bring you back here. Have 2 hours ready. This one a joke. This one appetizer. Yeah. Because you're a huge person of
No
interest.
wahala.
One, because I
No
want
wahala.
to use you to drive a message to the Nigerian youths who are very docile and mostly lazy. They don't want to hear that, but that is it is what it is. Yeah, the people who cannot fight for themselves, they don't even care about themselves. They don't care about their country, and they don't know how this what is playing out is going to damage them in quantum when the time comes, because they are running away from standing up. But they will have to stand up at the end of the day, and they will carry all that AK-47. We will put it in their hands. But they are running away from it now like it's a joke. And why the people are coming and they are not relenting. Go ahead, let's answer. How will this coalition work?
Yes, the truth is that have tried to look at the Nigerian situation critically. You know, you either get a change through a revolution, political revolution, or through the process of political gradualism. You know, if you ask me as a person, I believe in a revolution. I believe in a revolution where some people must be made to pay for their crimes against this country. You must tie some people to the stake and just shoot them. If that revolution needs to consume OSA director, so be it. That is the truth. However, if we can't have a revolution, let's do a process of political gradualism. And I guess that is what people like Peter Obi are trying to do. Because people will tell you that Peter Obi does not play politics of inclusiveness or inclusivity in the sense that, oh, he doesn't have a real to win election. So I guess that is why he's reaching out. However, I also believe that, like you are a scientist. The law of physics say water finds its own level. You know that experiment in physics.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. When and if a fish is rotting, it must have started from the head. The same way, if a fish is not rotting, it means the head is not rotting. If you have somebody who is well situated, I mean, a man who has a vision, who is committed to setting goals and objectives, and who has a standard as the head of affairs, I'm sure that everybody will fall in line. If you don't fall in line, you fall out. I give you just two instances. Do you know that when Obasanjo became president in 1999, a civilian president,
Yeah.
because of the mantra of war against corruption, when he started EFCC and all that later, people became very serious and we were scared until the thing was being watered down and being used as a weapon against political opponents. That's why people went to business as usual. The same way I have businessmen, top businessmen who told me this. So I was not, it's not even a third party message. You go and meet them or talk about investment, say, no, no, no. When Buhari came in, the second one, when Buhari came in 2015, and they said, no, investing now, guy. Until they discovered that Buhari was empty, that he might have nothing to offer. People went to business as usual. So if you have a leader, especially in this kind of country where people build strong men and not strong institutions, if you have a great leader, principled leader, everybody will fall in line, or at least majority of people fall in line. Remember, even though that was a military regime, we now know that it was Idiagbon that was in charge, Buhari Idiagbon regime. You saw as chaotic as Lagos, people standing on queue to enter a bus. You don't see people spitting anyhow in public, or people bringing out their weapon in public and urinating. They don't do that. So, my brother, gradualism and having a leader that knows what he wants and how to go about it. So, I would not blame Obi for moving. If you are, I've been in politics, I play politics, and every human being is a political animal as far as you're interested in what happens around you. After all, what is politics? You are interested in who gets for what, who gets for why, and how. And I'm interested. So, and when you are doing that, you have to make sure you are inclusive. You don't discriminate. It's like I told a man the other day when we were talking about all these same-sex marriage and all that. We have friends who practice same-sex, even though they do it in the closet, but it doesn't stop them from being your friends. I mean, you have how you relate. When it comes to that, they know who they go and meet. So that is that. So
Well,
I think we should encourage them. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
We should encourage.
again, yeah, for the fact that we are pressed for time, we have just less than 2 minutes to go, so you can go ahead and
Yeah.
do your other thing.
Yeah.
Now we are talking
Yeah.
about a country. Uh, our independence was premised on one nation, one destiny. And
Yeah.
sadly, after 64 years, we are still talking about North and South. And then from what I've been doing, if you have been following what I've been doing a lot of back underground work, yes, underworld work about this idea of
Yeah.
North and South. I've come to an understanding that the North truly does not exist. The North exists for only a few people, and they are the people masterminding terrorism. The North exists for strictly Fulani elites. I don't know if you are aware of the brewing Hausa revolution. It's real and it's going to erupt in no distant time. Maybe perhaps before even 2027, you will see an eruption, a volcanic eruption coming from the Hausas who have been in captivity since the past 221 years. So I am not a believer of the North and South 10. I am a believer of Nigeria and Nigerians, that we can reach to Nigerians without having to canonize a few people and make who call themselves they are Northern leaders. Where out they are not leading anything. I am telling you that they are alone. They are merchants. The people are no longer with them. Not many people are buying into that. Well, answer that before you take off. So we really appreciate your presence here. And I look forward to a 3 hours interview, big time. And it's for your own good to document you from a friend who dearly loves you and who knows you very well, not just from the standpoint of an outsider. Your story needs to be heard.
Yeah.
I didn't cover a lot of things, just took bits and pieces of you. So let's do that, and then we let you go.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank God you and I have the opportunity of living there, and some of my best friends are Northerners. So I don't see from the prism of North and South, or from the dichotomy of religious dichotomy of Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or animist.
Yes.
I see as far as you're a Nigerian, you are my friend. And I'd always believe that there's just as there's nothing like the South. The North is not a monolith. You know, are you going to talk of the political North, which you have just identified now, only a very few elites were in control? Or are you going to talk of the economic North? Here you have the have and the have nots, the Timi Alimajiris, who they sent to the street to go and beg. Why the big malams who send them have their children in house? I remember an encounter I had with a prominent northerner, and he was lionizing the importance of Alimajiri to me. And I asked him, do your children do Alimajiri? Do you send them to do Alimajiri? He got angry. So that tells you don't know it's a wrong thing to do. So are you going to talk of, like I said, is it the political note? Is it the economic note? Is it the religious note? Is it even the intellectual note? So to that extent, the note is not a monolith, but we should not emphasize on what divides us. We should emphasize on what unite us. And like you said, a friend of mine in Kano sent me a write-up. You know, he said all the emirs of the north are Fulanis. None of them is a Hausa. And he said all the governors in the north are Fulanis. None is a Hausa. So he sent it to me. I
All the
still have it.
senators, all the
Yeah,
senators.
yeah. Yeah. So these things are there. But by the time Nigeria come together, Nigeria have similar ideology, Nigeria have similar intellect, Nigeria have similar commitment to a progressive and prosperous Nigeria where every man or woman is equal before the law. Every man or woman is given the opportunity to thrive according to his competence and ability without discrimination. By the time we come together, all these guys will be a thing of the past. We are going to consign them into the dustbin of political.
Absolutely,
So that,
absolutely.
yeah.
Hey, dear brother, it's a
Thank
it's
you.
a it's a pleasure having you here. It's really, I am so. You need to know, it's a lot of people who joined in this for the little less than hour it lasted, and I'm looking forward to an up close with you. Seriously, consider that. You have to take your time, set a time aside, for that, so that you won't be in a hurry the next time we do this.
Oh,
It's a pleasure. Thank you very
oh,
much, and
thank you,
my
Mama. Thank
viewers
you.
from within Nigeria,
Put
across
a ban
Africa
on
and around
this
the world.
man, man.
You spoke with
Rastafari, ever live.
ever living, ever sure, man.
Yeah.
Rastafari.
Thank you.
All right, you
Ever
take care, my
live.
brother.
Okay,
Bye
my
for
brother.
now.
I appreciate it.
All right, bye
All
bye.
right. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah. Yes, listeners, viewers, it was as explosive as I thought it was. The temperature was getting high, but this, my brother, my friend, is a very busy person. He's a person of interest in Nigeria. He's a huge intellect. You heard the rendition about who he is and what he represents. He's a great guy, a man of integrity. We lived in Kano together at the same time. We shared room, at one point, when I was still in Kano before I left. After the Kano riot, when I finished my graduate studies in orthopedic nursing, I had to leave and against my wish, that was supposed to be a part of my country. if I can show you a scar that I had, I was stabbed in the Kano riot of 1991. 1991 was hell. It was an Armageddon, yes, when some people decided that every other person who was not a Muslim and who they thought was a Christian should die. It was a 5 days of mayhem. How I escaped is still a mystery to me. I know that I was working with a friend that I made right on the way. He was trying to escape, and we were living in the heartland of Hausawa, where there was a lot of people, the locals, and in the morning I tried to escape, and I was beaten back. And then later in the day, I came out again in an attempt to leave because I knew what was going to happen in the night. They were going to come and be killing from house to house. So I came out, I saw this young man. I think he said it was either Plateau or Benue, at the time. So we started walking. We were almost there, where we were going to be saved, where, to a safe place. And then they grabbed him and then killed him right in front of me, and then came for me. They tried to stab me in the chest, so I took this. So I was good with karate, so I took the dagger with this, and then seized the dagger from the guy, and that was the last I knew. That was all. I didn't know anything from then. The next place I found myself was somewhere in no man's land, and close to me, dead bodies all over the place, and then this woman came and grabbed me. You are bleeding, you are bleeding, you are bleeding so profusely. So I fought her off. He said, no, I am not an enemy, look at your hands. So I looked, all my clothes were drenched with blood. So she took me to her house, um, uh, two-story building. Yes, she took me to her house, gave me something to clean my wound. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I was working at the National Orthopedic Hospital in Kano. Yes. So she gave me something. I cleaned my wound, bandaged my wound. And then she told me, hey, my brother is in the army. He's going to come pick all of us. Don't worry. Just relax. You're going to come. Whenever we leave, we are going to live together to the army base or army barrack. And then she offered me a plate of rice. My hands were shaking. The plate of rice fell off my hand and shattered. I started crying. And then I had a little break, and I told her, do you have something for me to tie my international passport? She gave me what we call cellophane paper in Nigeria. And then I wrapped my international passport in it, put it in my pocket. Then I walked downstairs behind her building. Her house was something that looked like a stream, a river. Then I jumped into that river and then swam across, then came out where I found myself in the Air Force base in Kano, Nigeria. And at that place were thousands of displaced Nigerians, yeah, in their own country. Thousands of displaced Nigerians. I mean thousands. People with different type of gory stories. Stories about how families were wiped out, how people were given the option to die by a dagger or by jumping into the well and they locked the well. How pregnant women were cut open and then brought their babies and they cut their babies in pieces. In Nigeria, my country. In Nigeria, my country. Yes, Nigeria, 1991. That Babangida was the president of Nigeria at the time, illegal president. They did nothing. It was a war. When it was over, thousands of people died. And nobody was arrested. No one was held accountable. None, just like always. Nobody. Like when Boko Haram kills, nobody is held accountable. When the Fulani bandits killing all over Nigeria, when they kill, nobody is held accountable. They will go to Plateau, wipe out people. Nobody's held accountable. They are killing in Borno, killing in Yobe. Nobody's held accountable. Yes, how long are we going to go to be in that type of country? So I remember saying that. I managed to finish my school. I was working and at the same time going to school. I managed. Once I was able to manage, I left. But I said I was going to be back. But I don't know that being back is doing what I'm doing right now. So I've been back. And we have to change Nigeria. We have to end the darkness in Nigeria. We have to assert our citizenship of Nigeria. We have to assert our rights as human beings with right to life, right to choice, right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of association, right to freedom of worship, and right to self-determination. And the people holding Nigeria hostage, they don't like us to have these rights. But it's no longer in their hands right now. They have no choice. We're going to take our rights. And that is why I'm calling Nigerians from the east to west, north and south to stand up and let us take Nigeria. Because the people holding Nigeria hostage are just less than 1 million people. Yeah, they are elitist elements from our country's minority, one of our country minority populations. They have no right to continue to hold us in captivity. Every time, that is why I get angry when they come and be telling me about North. You want to tell me about North. We are talking about it. You tell me about how the North is feeling, as if the North is not a part of Nigeria. I want to hear how Nigerians are feeling and not hear how some idiots who call themselves Northern leaders are feeling. They come in the name of the North to rob Nigeria. But what do they give to the people in the North? Poverty, ignorance, disease, intolerance, hate, and weapons of self-destruction. In that same North that they talk about, there are over 30 million poor, innocent, and defenseless children who are supposed to be in school, but sadly on the street begging from AM to PM. Those are our children. Those are our compatriots. Those are Nigerians who are being murdered, yes, through policies driven by warped religious ideology. It's time we put an end to that. Well, with this, we come to the end of this show, and I'm looking forward to bringing OSA Director for a more detailed interview, because we did not talk about a lot of areas that I had hoped we were going to cover because of his constraint for time. Thank you for joining us. And if, again, you joined us for the very first time, subscribe to our channel and share our message. For our returning members, we love you. And those who want to support what we do, give us a super thanks, super chat. We'll appreciate every contribution you make, because we do a lot to bring this program on air for you. Bye for now. And I love you guys. Bye-bye.